24 Liberal MPs went to his caucus today to tell him that he's not worth the crime, cost, or corruption. They wanted to tell him that he's doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, sent 2 million people to the food banks, but he wouldn't let them. He silenced half of the dissidents.
Could it be time's up for Justin Trudeau? That was Canada's opposition leader Pierre Poilievre telling Parliament that Liberals want Justin Trudeau out of power and do not think he should be the one seeking re-election at the country's federal election in October next year. Despite Justin Trudeau claiming his party is strong and united, sources say around 20 to 30 Liberal MPs have signed a document and confronted the PM, asking him to step down as the leader. An intense meeting between the PM and caucus members did take place on Wednesday to discuss Trudeau's future, where members were reportedly still not convinced Justin Trudeau should stay on. An ultimatum has been given to Canada's Prime Minister to decide by next week, October 28, if he's staying on or face a potential public caucus revolt. Justin Trudeau's popularity among Canadians has seen a dip in the last year. A recent poll from Abacus Data found 2 in 3 voters want the Prime Minister to immediately resign or to stay for the next year but do not seek re-election. Despite Justin Trudeau being in power for 9 years, the Conservative Party is currently sitting at 42% popularity and 25% for Trudeau's Liberal Party. So we will be waiting and watching for this situation to unfold. Welcome to Mad World, our weekly Culture Wars wrap-up. Let's get into it. Now, as predicted, it has been a huge week in the US campaign season as we are less than 2 weeks away from the presidential election. And with that comes desperation from both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris to convince voters that they should be president. And right now, anything goes to get minorities, swing state voters, and practically anyone over the line. The race for the White House is tight. A 538 poll has Harris on 48% and Trump on 46%. So a New York Times article on Donald Trump was the political ammunition that Kamala Harris needed this week. Speaking outside her home at the US Naval Observatory, Harris referenced an interview from Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, which detailed an allegation that Trump reportedly spoke about Hitler with admiration while he was president.
So yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired 4-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States.
So, of course, Kamala Harris says don't vote for Donald Trump if you want someone who allegedly admires Hitler. And this rumour has been reported before, but this time from someone named, and it's the same guy who once said that Trump called American veterans suckers and losers. Trump's team have denied the claims, calling John Kelly's comments debunked stories he fabricated. A former Trump-Pence administration official then tweeted this, writing, "Vice President Harris is a fraud. I was in the White House at a senior level much longer than General Kelly. He is complicit in this fraud and has lied to the American people." But the Veep still says Donald Trump is a danger to the country.
People who know him best, who have worked to defend the security and the principles of the Constitution of the United States, have called him unfit and a danger to our country.
The big story from this week's campaign has been Donald Trump's stint working at McDonald's. The former president truly capitalised on some bad PR for Kamala Harris and rubbed it in her face. VP Harris, whose entire campaign centres around being middle class, has claimed for years to have worked at a McDonald's branch in California over the summer of 1983. Donald Trump says she's lying about working at McDonald's, with the franchise confirming that they don't have records of Miss Harris working there, but this was 1983, so who knows if documents of casual workers were even kept. But absolutely everything can be used as a political tactic for Donald Trump, who visited a McDonald's restaurant in Pennsylvania where he served customers himself.
Make it fact.
Mr. President, you actually have worked at McDonald's now versus...
Now I have worked at McDonald's. I've now worked for 15 minutes more than Kamala.
Are you going to put this on your
I
resume?
never worked here.
Why would she lie about
15
something
minutes more than
like that?
Kamala.
Will it be put on your resume?
I worked at McDonald's.
Why would she lie about that?
Why? Because she's lying, Kamala, that's why. A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at all the fake news over there. Hello, everybody.
You can fake this,
And
right?
you know this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it
Please,
good.
Please, please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
We gotta hit that timer, bring that one up. I'm gonna take care of these.
Okay.
Right there, right there.
Vice President Kamala Harris was asked a tough question this week while sitting for an interview with MSNBC. She's questioned over whether she lied to the American people and was part of a cover-up when she stood behind Joe Biden and supported him for his run for a second term. After the first presidential debate in June, Joe Biden was deemed unfit and potentially cognitively impaired by politicians and Americans from both sides of the political aisle. So this question has haunted Harris since she took over Joe Biden's run for the Democratic nomination. Did she knowingly allow for Joe Biden to run for 4 more years, even though his cognitive health looked to be dwindling? And if she did, then why vote for someone in November who potentially lied?
Can you say that you were honest with the American people about what you saw in those moments with President Biden as you were with him again and again, repeatedly in that time?
Of course. Joe Biden is an extremely accomplished, experienced, and capable in every way that anyone would want if they're president.
And you never saw anything like what happened at the debate night behind closed doors with him?
It was a bad debate. People have bad debates.
So is Kamala Harris running a different race to Joe Biden? And is her answer sufficient?
My administration will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to this role my own ideas and my own experience. I represent a new generation of leadership on a number of issues and believe that we have to actually take new approaches.
Now, this was a pretty awkward moment for Kamala Harris, who was met with some chanting for Donald Trump at her own campaign event.
It's all good.
Kamala Harris has a new celebrity endorsement this week, none other than rapper Eminem, who introduced Barack Obama to the stage.
I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld. And here to tell you much more about that, President Barack Obama.
And this prompted Obama to attempt to rap to Eminem's most famous song, Lose Yourself.
Now notice my palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting.
But according to Donald Trump, the Democratic Party has exhausted Obama. This is what is said at a rally. He said the reason they bring him out and other people is because no one goes to these rallies, so they bring in all these so-called stars. And what happens is these stars get a little bit of crowds. They don't get crowds like this. They bring him out because they need help, because Harris cannot talk for more than 15 minutes. And while the Harris campaign have a new fan, so does the Trump campaign. Years after publicly denouncing her commitment to the Democratic Party, Tulsi Gabbard has officially switched to the Republican Party. You'd remember Tulsi, who was a former Republican congresswoman representing Hawaii, even running in the 2020 presidential campaign. She left the Democratic Party quite publicly in 2022, claiming it was under an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness. Gabbard has been an independent for the last few years, but has officially this week joined the Republican Party, supporting Donald Trump.
And it is because of my love for our country, and specifically because of the leadership that President Trump has brought to transform the Republican Party and bring it back to the party of the people and the party of peace, that I'm proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party.
On the contrast, Liz Cheney, who switched from the Republican Party to the Democrats, was busy this week campaigning for Kamala Harris. The VP, Ms. Cheney, spoke at a campaign event in Michigan this week, moderated by Maria Shriver. But critics were quick to jump on viral clips, again labelling Ms. Harris cringe.
You know, everybody I talk to says, I have to turn off the news. I can't read anything. I'm meditating. I'm doing yoga. I'm so anxious. I just don't even know. I'm eating gummies, all kinds of things, What are you doing? What are you doing?
Not eating gummies.
Okay, we got that clear.
Joe Biden was accused of making a Freudian slip this week when he was speaking at a Democratic campaign office in New Hampshire this week. He told the crowd, "We gotta lock Trump up."
Bizarre. It sounds like I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We gotta lock him up. Politically lock him up.
The soon-to-be political retiree played into the hands of the Trump campaign, which released a statement saying, Joe Biden just admitted the truth. He and Kamala's plan all along has been to politically persecute their opponent Donald Trump because they can't beat him fair and square. The Harris-Biden admin is the real threat to democracy. We call on Kamala Harris to condemn Joe Biden's disgraceful remark. Biden's team were there to clean up the mess, claiming the president sometimes misspeaks and did not intend for Donald Trump to be jailed. Joe Biden was again accused of being cognitively impaired this week while speaking at the same event.
Thank you. What's your name? Oh, is that right? All right. Well, thanks for being here. Have a seat, everyone.